can cause so much stress, unneeded, desirable stress on your life that you don't want to go through it. So if you're saying that I'm Miss Guilty, you've already answered the question yourself. Hey, we're going to go to the commercial break, and we'll be right back after these identifications. David, stay there. We'll be right back.
Okay.
Join us next week, March 17th. Our topic, Can You See Me? Help, I'm being abused. March is Women History Month, and we're highlighting Michelle LaVaughn Robinson Obama. Born January 17, 1964. She is an American lawyer and writer. She is the wife of 44th and current President of the United States, Barack Obama, and the first African American First Lady of the United States. Raised on the south side of Chicago, she is a graduate of Princeton University and Harvard Law School, and spent the early part of her legal career working at the law firm Sidley Austin, where she met Obama. Subsequently, she worked as part of the staff of Chicago Mayor Richard M. Daley and for the University of Chicago Medical Center. Looking for a great cause? Help New Faith Baptist Church International fight against Ebola. Go to Amazon to support the Joseph Assignment. Go to www.smile.amazon.com. Right after our show, you can tune in to hear more great preaching at New Faith Baptist International Church with Pastor Trinell Felder. This broadcast comes on every Tuesday at 9 p.m. at WYJS. The Let's Stay Together talk show will make their television debut on Chicago Asset Network Television this Sunday, March 15th at 6 p.m. We are the host of Everyone Has a Story show, and our topic is Young, Gifted, and Black, Rise Up and Walk. Air dates will be announced. This concludes the Let's Stay Together talk show announcements.
Now boarding the McCain train with Reverend Rick and author Brenda McCain. They're bringing hot and powerful topics regarding relevant issues on marriage, relationships, and life-changing family topics. And they are funny, engaging, energetic, and they bring real talk that reaches beyond the walls of the church. They have been successful because they have discussed topics like, help me, I want to grow old. My addiction is hurting my relationship. Aborted but not forgotten. Living in an HIV/AIDS relationship. The hand that loves me is hurting me. So if you want to know their glory, you have to know their backstory. So get on board the McCain train and listen to the Let's Stay Together Internet Talk Show each Tuesday night at 8 p.m. Central Time. Only on UBM. www.urbanbroadcastmedia.com. Need an affordable professional voiceover for your project like this one? Visit me, Mocha Gypsy, on Facebook. Simply go to Voiceovers by Mocha Gypsy, one word, or my page at fiverr.com/Mocha Gypsy.
It's UBM Talk on UrbanBroadcastMedia.com. Call us at 312-754-4333 and get in on the conversation.
Now here's the Let's Stay Together show with Reverend Ricardo McCain and author Brenda McCain, helping you to rebuild your relationships with God.
Hey, welcome back to Let's Stay Together show. David, you still there?
Yep.
All right. Hey, we're coming back to the Let's Stay Together show. We've been talking about deal breakers. You know, it's always amazing. I do all these titles and can never remember them. I'm getting old. Deal breakers. It's over now. Things that can terminate a relationship. We've got David Steele calling from California. We got Danae, and we got Mrs. Talayah here with my baby, my girl, my boo. And we were talking a little bit about that relationship letter. And so I just want to end it. I know we ended it that way, is that, one of the things about relationships and any relationships is that when you see a red flag or a deal breaker that's showing that, something is not right, that's your conscience letting you know that you shouldn't be doing certain things. So stay with that feeling. Red flags are good for you. They'll let you know that something is not being done in the right way for yourself. And it's very important that if you feel uncomfortable with things, that you at least examine it to make sure that it's right for you. Baby, we got some more questions you're going to have out for our guests?
Before I go to a question, I want to go with my 10 most common relationship deal breakers that I came across.
Oh, really? You got some, huh? You can't break no relationship, though, honey. We married too long. Okay, yeah. All right, just let you know.
But the one I came across, number one, was forgotten to be faithful. And I was like, yeah, a lot of men had that problem. They forgot to be faithful in a relationship. Number two was no chemistry, no biology, no nothing. It's
None
just,
of those sciences. Gotta have that. Yes.
And with this couple, they probably don't have anything. And why can't you be like me when you're trying to change your mate to be perfect or be more like, if you only just thought like me? I said, that sounds familiar. Jealousy, not by you, babe, but that's that sounds familiar. Jealousy in all its ugliness when he's not or she's not happy for you. Right. Insecurity, misdirected prioritizing. That's an interesting one. Communication breakdown. You could have a deal breaker with that when we can't even talk. An unhealed wound, that past relationship. Everything I do is reminding you of her or him. Number 9, overflowing expectation. Interesting. And number 10, letting yourself go. So that was totally the opposite. With some men, it was like the top 3.
Yeah.
Right.
She can't let herself go. So a woman probably wrote this one.
But I want to grab on one of those things. And David, I'm gonna go to you. We got down there. Why can't you be like me? Do a lot of people have in relationships always want to make that person more like themselves so they can feel comfortable? Because it's easier for me to make you like me. That way I don't have to try to understand who you are. Does that happen a lot in relationships?
Yeah, but what happens even more is, how I want you to be. So it's not even, be more like me, although we love to be agreed with. We love to be mirrored, right? But what's even more common is, make me laugh or make me happy or, why can't you be this way or that way? And one of the really important things in a committed relationship is the ability to accept your partner 100% for who they are. And so at some point you got to let go of wanting them to be different if you're going to spend the rest of your life with them. And I would like to propose, guys, that there probably is a difference between deal breakers when you're dating and then deal breakers later when you are married.
Yeah, it is true.
Of that.
Yeah, that is very great. Hey, Danae, talk about that a little bit.
I want to say that when you are in the dating phase, you're also still learning a bit about yourself as well. So you're still growing. And then, of course, when you become married, not that you stop growing because you still evolve and grow in your marriage there, but things that you're more tolerable of during the dating season, you might be actually less tolerable of when you become married, because some of the things you hear couples talk about, the reasons, I fell in love with you can become the same reasons that I don't like you or you getting on my nerves later on within your marriage there. So I think those dynamics take place too.
Yeah. Danae, Talayah, what do you got to say on that?
Well, dating is the time to find out all of that information. A lot of people put more research into planning a vacation than they do into planning a relationship. That's the time to ask the questions, to get to know who the person is, so that when you make that commitment, that contract, then you don't have those issues to deal with. You've weeded out all of those people who weren't the right one, as David said. So when you get the person who you believe is the right one, I think we started off the show saying love is a commitment. So you've made that commitment to the person. Now those things that may have been deal breakers when you were dating them, now you've made that commitment and you're going to put forth more effort into making that marriage work, regardless of what those issues might be. And like Danae said, sometimes the things, I know someone who says that one thing he loved about, when he was dating his wife, the fact that she could talk about anything. Well, now that they've been married for many, many years, he said, now I realize she never stops talking. So, but sometimes, but you're married, you have to now say, hey, I'm committed to loving and being with this person. So use the dating time to get all the weeds out and make sure you get the person that you can deal with.
So
you
Danae,
don't-
you was going to say something. Again, I'm going to let Brenda say something as well. But go ahead.
Yeah, one of the things I'm thinking about too is during the dating season, it's all glamorous and glittery and gold and shiny and I'm in love. And then of course you get married like we talked about, and I can tell you, been with my husband almost 16, 17 years now. And marriage is not for punks. That's the real deal.
Yeah.
So you have to be committed because that's when the hardcore stuff comes up there, and you have to, be committed, fully committed, because society, as we talked about earlier, with the divorce rate, it looks casual. It now looks the norm to get a divorce because, this, so-called deal breaker is going on, but you're committed at that point.
Baby, what you got to say on that?
Oh, too much. I mean, everybody's making great points with the stats, the facts that I just stated. It is, leave me and my hand alone, but it's just so interesting. Like we were just saying, marriage now is like changing your underwear for those who change them daily. You toss, it's like, okay, this is not working. We could go on and get an easy divorce. And as Danae just said, it's sad to think that people don't take it seriously. Like we said, marriage isn't for punks. Marriage is a strong commitment. Even dating someone is a commitment. Like Talayah said, you planning a vacation, plan to meet the person, not in 24 hours, not to know everything about them, but give it a process period. As the pastors always say, go through 4 seasons of dating someone before you even consider saying, I want to marry them, I want to have 8 children. And as Danae said, everything in the dating stage is glittery, is gold, is the fantasy. The reality stage comes in the marriage, when all of the whistles and bells are just dead. The batteries ran out. What you gonna do, Rick?
Yeah, well, and David, I'm gonna
ask you a question. What you gonna do?
I'm gonna say something if you give me a chance. we did talk about women taking over as a deal breaker too, by the way. But David, I'm gonna speak and I'm gonna let you have the last word on it because you brought this up. But I'm gonna tell you what. Now, David said the difference of it is that when you're in a relationship and you're in marriage, that's totally different. In a relationship, you should be working on deal breakers. In a marriage, you should make sure that the deal is not broken. And that's the difference of the two things, is that I'm in a relationship, I'm working on things so I can make sure if this is a deal breaker, I'm not going to go forward because I don't want it to destroy my marriage. But once I've gotten, consummated into that marriage, I need to start working on not breaking the deal, not breaking the covenant, not breaking situations. So we've got to work together to make sure that that marriage bond doesn't get broken. And so the paradigm needs to be shifted to, I'm trying to make sure that the deal breakers I have so I don't mess up a relationship, and to a marriage to the point where I want to make sure that I don't break anything, any deals or any commitments that we made that's going to end that relationship. David, I'm going to let you end on the difference between that.
Oh my gosh, you really put it really, really, really well. And so I think what I can best contribute here is a game-changing piece of research that really bears that out. I mean, we all know, we assume, and the research does show that commitment by itself is the glue that makes marriage work.
Yes.
And, when you're dating, that's when you have the time to make those kinds of decisions. But once you've made the decision and you made the commitment, then you need to solve the problems rather than looking at the problems as reasons for leaving. And the piece of research that I came across that really was a game changer for me, it's written up in the book The Case for Marriage by Maggie Gallagher and Linda Waite. And in that book, there was a single piece of research. There was a survey done on thousands of couples. And it was a very simple survey, actually. Well, are you happy? Are you unhappy? Are you very happy? Are you very unhappy? So what they did was they identified thousands and thousands of couples that identified their married couples, as being either unhappy or very unhappy. And then 5 years later, they go back to these same couples, and then they survey them again. Are you happy? Are you very happy? Are you very unhappy? Are you unhappy? What's the deal? And can you guess how many of those unhappily married couples reported being either happy or very happy 5 years later?
No, tell me, what's the percentage?
It's more than 2/3.
Oh, wow.
I'm not surprised.
And the really interesting thing is that the ones that reported being the most unhappy They even had a higher percentage of reporting being happy 5 years later. And so in the research, they called this the marital endurance ethic, and really what it shows is if you hang out long enough, things change.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, things don't stay the same, and problems tend to either solve themselves or you find a way to solve it. And if you're committed, then you'll see it through. And so this research kind of shows that, well, you know, if you're unhappy now,